Hey guys, what's up? My name is Anthony. Welcome to another edition of BNA Sports Talk. And today what I want to talk about is kind of opinions from last year about the quarterbacks. And there were a lot of quarterbacks coming up for contract. Remember, you had Tom Brady, you had Phillip Rivers, you had Eli Manning even. And there were a lot of questions up. And then you also had the young guys, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, who were up for a contract extension. And we all know Carson Wentz and Jared Goff got those. And Mike Florio and Chris Sims were talking about it in May of last year. And a lot of things have changed and a lot of things have stayed the same. So I'm going to play this clip of them talking about Dak Prescott and Carson Wentz and things like that.
Carson Wentz is more talented than Dak Prescott. I do. I think he's a better overall football player. Now, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. I get that. But Carson Wentz is as big or bigger than Dak Prescott. He runs better than Dak Prescott, and he's got a better arm than Dak Prescott. So I give him the advantage there. But Dak Prescott has the advantage of saying, well, I've been to the playoffs 2 out of the 3 years I was a starter, and the 1 year I wasn't, Ezekiel Elliott was suspended. We deserve as much as Kirk Cousins or a Jimmy Garoppolo in this instance. And I think at the very least, that's their low end right there, 27.5, 28 million.
So it's crazy to think that we're still talking the same things about Dak Prescott. Is he a franchise quarterback? He put up the second most yards, I think, in the NFL last year. They had the number one offense, but still not really enough because, the team had, the best offensive line in the league pretty much. The team had all these weapons, and they weren't able to come through in those late games, and that's what you need. You need the quarterback to come through in those late games because it doesn't matter. So they also briefly talked about Phillip Rivers, and Chris Sims said, he's going to sign a 1 or 2 year deal. But imagine a year ago saying, Phillip Rivers, next year is going to be starting quarterback of the Colts. Really? So many things have happened. It's kind of crazy. The 5-11 Chargers. A lot of people, they expected a little bit of a regression. But some people have been having them winning the division and the Super Bowl. I had them going to the Super Bowl. I jumped off their bandwagon at the last second because I saw some signs of regression from the team. They got really lucky the year before. Just a lot of things went right the year before. And just they're due for a little bit of a pullback. So I had them more 9 wins. They won 5. And then Andrew Luck retired. Oh my God. So many things have changed. And it's kind of crazy to see that. And it's just whoa. And now Justin Herbert is the quarterback there. And speaking about where other quarterbacks landed, you also had Jared Goff, and Chris Sims reflected a little bit of curiosity and a little bit of pessimism about Jared Goff.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, but I think he's a California kid. The Rams have been successful. They're building something in LA, and I think the public pressure will be too much to sign him because I still think they're going to be a good team this year. So I think in the end, they're going to be stuck with Jared Goff whether they want to be or not.
Yeah, so Jared Goff, he said, it's a mistake to sign him. And you all know it's going to be a mistake to sign him. He's already taken a salary, I think, hit a little bit. I think he's taken a little bit of a less salary this year because he realizes, I'm going to need a lot of talent. I know I need a lot of talent. You had the games against the Bears. You had the Super Bowl, which is he didn't play great. And even in the playoffs, he didn't play really great. He has a great deep ball, a beautiful deep ball. But he can't. I don't think he can really execute an offense if he doesn't have amazing talent. If he doesn't have a good offensive line, and the way you do that, take a little bit of a salary cap hit. You draft well on the offensive line, and they haven't done that. You had to have Andrew Whitworth spend another year there, and now you have Tyler Higbee that you're praying is a good tight end, a good blocking tight end to help Jared Goff out. It's one of those things. You're making a mistake, but it's just I got to do it anyway. You're paying a little bit too much money for it, but it's just but I want it. And they had it. And if you think about it, this year they could have had a quarterback in the first round. They could have had Jordan Love. And if they didn't pay Jalen Ramsey and didn't go all in on this year, you could have had Jordan Love. And then next year, still had your first round pick. But no, they went all in on this year instead of having a little bit of pessimism. And we saw that with Jimmy G this year. He had that one throw in the Super Bowl. It's just is he our quarterback? Now the 49ers are already paying him. I would think that they, looking to move on a little bit. They were looking at Tom Brady a little bit. But that's a little bit of a connection there. They also mentioned the debate between Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston. Chris Sims made some comments about that.
It's very few and far between in games where we look at and go, "Ooh, Marcus Mariota played really well." Last year he had that game against the New England Patriots where we all went, "Damn, this is why they picked this guy number 2." But then, we go through 3 or 4 weeks where we don't see him do anything either. Gosh, I got to see it to believe it. I got on and off the field and everything that goes with it. So if you made me pick one right now, I'm going to say neither one of them gets a long-term deal. I favor Jameis more to get it, but I got to see it to believe it before I put that stamp of approval on it.
Yeah, so he wasn't confident in Marcus or Jameis. He had a little bit more confidence in Jameis, and that was kind of true because the Buccaneers ended up getting rid of Jameis after the Tennessee Titans got rid of Marcus Mariota. In fact, it was after like week 5. Marcus Mariota couldn't have string those really good games together. Neither really could Eli Manning in a way. But Eli Manning was smart. He was cerebral. He can make up for his mistakes by his pre-snap decisions. Marcus Mariota never was that. He was more of an athlete, and we talked about that a little bit. Daniel Jones and Marcus Mariota had very similar stats their rookie year, but I think Daniel Jones has a little bit of a better future than Marcus Mariota. I just think that he wasn't really that good of a passer in order to be sustainable in the league. And I was kind of back and forth on Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston when they came out. Who's better? I didn't really know much about football. It's kind of just like I like the way this guy plays, and that's what really the debate is back then. And now Tom Brady's a Buccaneer. It's crazy how things change so quickly. Now Jameis Winston is a backup quarterback, and the thing to know about that is, who are your backup quarterbacks? Your Joe Flacco's, your Andy Daltons, your Teddy Bridgewater is a starter, but who has jobs this year? It's not your Cam Newtons, who Chris Sims was really high on, and he said, he's the best player in Panthers history. He deserves a contract extension, blah, 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 blah. But he ends up being a distraction. He's gotten injured, part COVID, part whatever, but, Cam Newton hasn't had the long-term success. Every year is just like, I want more from him. I want a little more leadership. I want a little bit more camaraderie with the team. He was all about me in a way. Even though that's not how it played in the locker room, that's how it played in general, like the dabbing and the stuff. It's all about you, your brand. It'll make it about team, and Joe Flacco is about team. He wants team success. Not so much as late. He's 34 years old, I guess, and he has made some comments in the past, but you need good guys. You need guys that, you wouldn't mind in the locker room. Cam Newton's a little bit more than that. Sean Payne won a reclamation project. That's why he signed Jameis Winston. And yeah, it's crazy how much things change. And things are going to change next year. I'm going to make future videos about where quarterbacks are going to go. I think the Dallas Cowboys should get rid of a Dak Prescott because now you have a little more leverage with Andy Dalton. Dak Prescott doesn't have a lot of leverage. The 14-point-something% of the cap with Super Bowls. A study came out. We all knew the study. It's funny how studies came out. It's like, yeah, we knew that about a year ago. You can't pay a quarterback more than like 13-14%. And yeah, I think the Dallas Cowboys get Jadeveon Clowney. He's still in the market. The salary cap is going to go down next year. It's probably going to go down. And in teams with a high cap this year and next year, the Texans, I think, were preparing for it a little bit by dumping some contracts. Same with the Rams. They realized, next year we have to be smart. The Eagles, they're $60 million over the cap next year. The Patriots are looking to dump a lot of contracts, but teams like Miami, like the Giants, are going to be in a position to make good moves next year, get your wide receiver, and yeah. So we'll talk more about the caps and stuff later. But I think the Dallas Cowboys get a Jamal Adams, pay him $16 million. He's going to be willing to take a little bit of a hometown discount, maybe get away with 15, because you figure Dak Prescott, 35. You can pay Jamal 15. You can pay Clowney 20, and that equals 35. And, Clowney, realistically, is only going to get $12 million a year, so that's 27. And you only be paying a quarterback $3 million. Andy Dalton hasn't really had a lot of playoff wins, but develop your quarterback. Get McCarthy his guy. I've heard mixed things about Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott's relationship, but get Mike McCarthy his guy. That's the reason why you brought him in. Make him successful. We've seen if he has troubling relationship with the quarterback, he can bounce off really quickly, and we saw that with Aaron Rodgers. So make him have his guy, whatever system he wants to play. And you're gonna have to make smart financial decisions. You're gonna have to realize that you have this draft is the key draft. Bradley and Trayvon Diggs, those guys are gonna have to play and be good in order for them to, I think, be long-term successful in this league. That's pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be coming out with quick tidbits and stuff on Instagram. I'm really bolstering my Instagram. I'm going to start promoting that a little bit more. I have like Giants clips and highlights that I'm going to try to make funny, little narratives and things like that. And yeah, and also I'm going to have a, Nick Gates and a Corey Ballantyne film review soon. It's just like the more I watch the film, the more I'm like expanding. Like I need to do one on RJ McIntosh. I need to do one on Nick Gates. I need to do one on Sam Beal. And hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.